Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare recess at any time. We welcome everyone to today's organizational meeting of the Committee on the Judiciary for the 119th Congress. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Moore, to lead us all in the Pledge of Allegiance. To ascertain the presence of a quorum, I ask the clerk to call the roll of the members.
Mr. Jordan.
Here.
Mr. Jordan is here. Mr. Issa. Mr. Issa is here. Mr. Biggs. Mr. Biggs is here. Mr. McClintock. Mr. Tiffany. Mr. Massey. Mr. Massey is here. Mr. Roy. Mr. Fitzgerald. Mr. Klein. Mr. Klein is here. Mr. Gooden. Mr. Gooden is here. Mr. Van Drew. Mr. Van Drew is here. Mr. Nels. Mr. Nels is here. Mr. Moore. Mr. Moore is here. Mr. Kiley. Ms. Hageman. Ms. Lee. Mr. Hunt. Mr. Fry. Mr. Grothman. Mr. Knott. Mr. Knott is here. Mr. Harris. Mr. Harris is here. Mr. Onder. Mr. Onder is here. Mr. Schmidt. Mr. Schmidt is here. Mr. Gill. Mr. Baumgartner. Mr. Baumgartner is here. Mr. Raskin.
Here.
Mr. Raskin is here. Mr. Nadler. Ms. Lofgren. Ms. Lofgren is here. Mr. Cohen. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Swalwell. Mr. Liu. Ms. Jayapal. Ms. Jayapal is here. Mr. Correa. Mr. Correa is here. Ms. Scanlon. Ms. Scanlon is here. Mr. Neguse. Ms. McBath. Ms. McBath is here. Ms. Ross. Ms. Ross is here. Ms. Ballant. Mr. Garcia. Mr. Garcia is here. Ms. Kamlager-Dove. Ms. Kamlager-Dove is present. Mr. Moskowitz. Mr. Moskowitz is here. Mr. Goldman. Mr. Goldman is here. Ms. Crockett.
McClintock here.
Mr. McClintock is here. Ms. Hageman is here. Mr. Gill is here.
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Fitzgerald is here.
Are there any other members who have not been recorded? This gentleman from California, Mr. Liu.
Mr. Liu is present.
Gentlelady from Vermont.
Ms. Ballant is present.
Okay, now the clerk will report.
Mr. Chairman, there are 31 members present.
Quorum is present, and now recognize the ranking member, the new ranking member, the gentleman from Maryland, Mr. Raskin, for any opening comments he may have and introductions he may have of his members. And I just want to say I do welcome Mr. Raskin back to this committee. We've had a long friendship and a long history of debating each other as well. But I do welcome him back as the ranking member. We're going to miss Mr. Nadler, but he's going to be part of the committee. But the new ranking member, Mr. Raskin from Maryland, is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. It really is a delight. It's an honor. It's a privilege of a lifetime to be back in this committee, in this position alongside you. I actually was an intern on the House Judiciary Committee in 1982, my junior year of college. I worked for John Conyers. I used to drive him back and forth to the airport and carry a suitcase, but I began to imbibe the very special spirit of this committee, and it's a dream come true for me to be in this position as ranking member with the extraordinary members over on our side and the extraordinary members that you've assembled on your side of the aisle too. So I really look forward to working with you. You are a great intellectual wrestler and pugilist and combatant, and I've always enjoyed our intellectual skirmishes and debates, and enjoyed even more the momentary interludes of friendship and cooperation that we've had. And we've actually we've actually been able to do some legislation together, and I hope we can do more. I'm very proud of the Press Act that you and I did to mobilize defense of journalists so that they don't have to face compulsory production of their confidential notes and sources, something that passed unanimously in this committee, unanimously in the House. Unfortunately, hit some hard rocks over in the Senate, but I hope we'll be able to bring that one back. And generally, I believe that you and I, Mr. Jordan, find a lot of conscientious common ground on constitutional law and on the rights of the people and the Bill of Rights and civil liberties. And I think, that's been the bread and butter of this great committee, which was the provenance, of course, of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and lots of other great pieces of legislation protecting the civil rights and civil liberties of the people. And I hope we can recover and advance that tradition together. I also want to thank Mr. Nadler, I don't know if he's arrived yet, for leading the Democrats on the committee. He too is a great combative New York ideological street fighter and has kept the Constitution and the common good very close to his heart. And I'm pleased that he will continue to be an active member of the committee, sitting alongside us. We have some new members, and I want to introduce them to you. And we've brought you nothing but the best, Mr. Chairman. Starting with Sydney Kamlager Dove. Sydney is from the 37th District in California. Our thoughts go out to everybody in the Los Angeles area suffering still from the effects of these horrific and devastating fires. Prior to coming to Congress, Representative Kamlager Dove was a community advocate and activist. She spent nearly a decade representing the people of Los Angeles, both in local office and in the state legislature. And she has been a great champion for families and for civil rights and for civil liberty and for civil freedom, and we welcome her to the committee. Jared Moskowitz is from the 23rd Congressional District. He began his career in public service during law school when he was first elected to the Parkland City Commission, and he is a graduate of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas School, and the cause of community safety, public safety, gun safety has been very close to his heart. In 2012, he was elected to the Florida legislature, where he worked on a whole bunch of issues, including public safety and gun violence. He was appointed by Governor DeSantis in 2019 to be Florida's emergency management director, where he served with distinction. And later, he became Broward County Commissioner. So I've seen him in the Oversight Committee, Mr. Chairman, skewering his opponents during the meetings and then befriending them afterwards and going out and getting a beer. So he's a good person to get to know. For those of you who don't know Mr. Moskowitz, Dan Goldman, Dan Goldman's in his second term, thank you, Jim, is in his second term representing New York's 10th, which covers Manhattan and Brooklyn. Prior to his service, he was lead counsel in the first impeachment trial of Donald Trump, both working on the House Intelligence Committee and during the Senate trial. Before that, he was Assistant U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York for 10 years, focusing on organized crime prosecutions and white-collar crime. He was Deputy Chief of the Organized Crime Unit from 2012 to 2014, and he was Senior Trial Counsel in the Securities and Commodities Fraud Task Force from 2014 to 2017. So he's one more distinguished prosecutor and former Hill staffer who's come to join us. So welcome to him. Finally is another friend who came over from the Oversight Committee with me, Jasmine Crockett. She represents the 30th District of Texas, which includes parts of Dallas and Tarrant counties. Before coming to Congress, she was a public defender, a civil rights attorney, and a state rep. She began her career in the Bowie County Public Defender's Office, and she's had a number of high positions within the legal community and the bar in Texas. In 2020, she was elected to the Texas House and was a champion there. of civil rights, civil liberties, and public safety. And she has a penchant for poetry and alliteration. You may have noticed in some of the episodes with her from the Oversight Committee that have gone viral. I've explained to all of our colleagues the level of decorum that generally governs here in the Judiciary Committee, and I know everybody will be acculturated to that soon. So I want to welcome back all of our returning members. Let's see, did I welcome Becca Ballant? Did we do? Oh, okay. Okay. Becca Ballant, well, we'll get to this, but she's going to be serving as the vice-ranking member over on our side, Mr. Jordan. So with that, I just want to say I'm very psyched to get to meet all of my new colleagues over on your side of the aisle, and we've got the opportunity, I think, it's a very interesting moment in our history. We're obviously going to stand strong and stand tall for the Constitution, the separation of powers, civil liberties, civil rights, every part of the Constitution. I think if we put our heads together, we can work really to fix our broken immigration system in a comprehensive and effective and just and humane way. We can protect the civil rights and civil liberties of the people. We can address the epidemic of gun violence and gun crime in the country. We can secure the right to vote. I'm hopeful. This is one of my own personal things, Mr. Chairman, but I know that the incoming president is very proud of the fact that he won the popular vote for president by more than 3 million votes. I know Joe Biden was very proud that he won the popular vote by 7 million votes in the prior election. I'm proud of anybody who can win a popular election, including the people in this room. We know how tough it is. I think it's time for us to move to a national popular vote for president, which doesn't have any particular partisan valence, but the Electoral College system has given us 5 popular vote losers in our history, and it seems always like an accident waiting to happen, and I hope we can get together to address that. We've got to address also reforming the ethics system on the Supreme Court and throughout the judiciary, and I know that's something that can unify us across party lines. So with all of that, I thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your kindness and your indulgence. I really look forward to working with you in the 119th.
I thank the gentleman, and I would just echo the ranking member's thoughts on this is the committee in Congress primarily designed to protect the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the liberties that the citizens of this great nation have. And so I know we all, both sides of the aisle, take that responsibility in protecting those rights, those liberties, and the Constitution very, very seriously. And I welcome the new members on the Democrat side. We've debated with many of them before and look forward to that healthy and robust debate that this committee always offers. I now want to introduce our new members. I think we have 7. First, I'll start with the gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Grothman, who's been and Glenn is not even here. Look at that. Represented Wisconsin's 6th District since 2015. Prior to being elected, he was a member of the Wisconsin State Senate and is one of those oversight individuals who's also now here on the Judiciary Committee. We welcome Glenn. Glenn's been a friend for a number of years. Representative Brad Knott, freshman member, representing North Carolina's 13th Congressional District. He previously served as a federal prosecutor, distinguished prosecutor in the Office of the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of North Carolina, and we welcome Mr. Knott to the committee as well. Representative Mark Harris had to step out as well. I think we got a couple committees going on now, which we all understand. But Representative Harris is a freshman member representing North Carolina's 8th Congressional District before being elected to Congress. He served as a minister, Baptist minister there just outside of Charlotte. Representative Bob Onder is a freshman member representing Missouri's 3rd Congressional District. He previously served in the Missouri Senate and the Missouri House of Representatives. And in addition to being a lawyer, he is also a physician. Representative Derek Schmidt, welcome, Derek. I think he's the only member of Congress now, a member of the House, who was a former state attorney general. So it represents Kansas's 2nd Congressional District and served as attorney general in his great state for 8 years. And 12 years, excuse me, 12 years, even more impressive. Welcome, Derek. Representative Brandon Gill is a freshman member representing Texas' 26th Congressional District prior to being elected to the House. He worked in the financial and media industries, and we're glad to have the gentleman from Texas as part of our committee. And then Representative Michael Baumgardner, a freshman member representing Washington's 5th Congressional District. He previously served with the State Department all over the country. We had dinner last night with Michael, learned about some of his experiences, and was in the Washington State Senate for, I believe, 8 years. Welcome to the committee. We welcome all our new members, both sides of the aisle. Look forward to your contributions to our meetings and hearings. The next order of business is the adoption of the committee rules for the 118th Congress as required by Clause 2 of House Rule 11. A copy of the proposed rules was distributed to committee members. I will briefly summarize how these rules are different from the rules of the last Congress. These rules make modest alterations to improve the operation of the committee, such as adding artificial intelligence to the name of the subcommittee on courts, intellectual property, and the internet, clarifying the subcommittee's jurisdiction over patents, trademarks, and trade secrets, and vesting the subcommittee with jurisdiction over emerging technologies. The rules also vest the subcommittee on the Constitution and limited government and the subcommittee on the administrative state, regulatory reform, and antitrust with jurisdiction over the effect of the regulation of artificial intelligence on matters within those subcommittees' jurisdiction. And finally, turning to the subcommittee on responsiveness and accountability, we turned that into the oversight into the subcommittee on oversight with jurisdiction over the operations and activities of the various agencies, departments, and components within the jurisdiction of the full committee. These changes are necessary to improve the committee operations and to ensure that we are conducting the sort of constitutional oversight that the American people expect from us. And I urge the adoption, and I now recognize Ranking Member Raskin for any remarks he may have about the rules.
And thank you, Mr. Chairman. If we're going to have some substantive disagreements in the days ahead, today is not one of those days. I'm pleased to say that passage of these rules is something that seems perfectly reasonable to us, and I appreciate that with minor exceptions, these rules are a continuation of the rules that we've operated on in prior Congresses and in the last Congress, and I've got no objection to them. I've got no quarrel with anything here, including the name changes to the subcommittees, and I hope this launches us in a peaceful and harmonious direction, at least for a couple of days.
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will.
I yield back.
Anyone who seeks recognition? Reporting quorum being present, the question is on the adoption of the committee rules as amended. All those in... Oh, that's right, we didn't amend it. Reporting quorum being present, the question is on the adoption of the committee rules. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the rules are adopted. Without objection, the staff is authorized to make technical and conforming changes pursuant to House rules. The rules adopted by the Committee on the Judiciary will be published in the Congressional Record and made available to the members of the public on the committee's website. Next order of business is the ratification of the subcommittee assignments. Clerk will distribute the roster. Do we have that? Okay. The rosters reflect the chairs and the ranking members, as well as the members of each subcommittee. The roster was created by the Republican and Democrat sides of the committee, respectively. Is there any discussion before we vote on approving the rosters? Question is on approving the appointments of the subcommittee chairs and ranking members as set forth in the roster. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the chairs and the ranking members are appointed. Is there further discussion before we vote on approving the roster, the actual members of each subcommittee? Question is on approving the subcommittee assignments as set forth in the roster. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the subcommittee roster is approved. This concludes the committee's business for this meeting. Quickest meeting in history. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.